Do you think any of the guys that sits in these chairs feel a pressure to keep it to keep Melee afloat or to keep Melee going?
No. I think if I go one by one, I actually think I have done the least for Melee in this group by a lot. Not from the participatory stance, but from like Aiden and Ludwig. It's like a close battle. Depends how you look at it. Ludwig's done a shit ton for Melee. He's put on so many big events. I think he's competing with Summit for like the biggest prize pools for Melee. He's like brought so many eyes to the game. He's sponsored players, etc. He gave Zane his first sponsorship, and Zane's the best player in the world now. Like, he's done a lot for the game. Aiden, he was like the glue of international Melee. He was the only reason that players like Spud from New Zealand got to come to America and show that they weren't just like, other countries aren't just shit at this game. They just don't have opportunities to travel. And like, he was a big proponent of not only a TO of some of the biggest events and most unique events with different types of streams or rule sets, but like he like united the international side of Melee all on his own dime, all his own money. And he didn't have, he just didn't have a ton of money. He was just like a kid. And then like Slime, I think, did a lot for like the culture of Melee and like made like Melee's first real podcast and first real show. And Slime on the Scene like birthed a lot of man on the street content and blah blah blah. I had like a minimal amount of effect on like maybe like Melee combo videos or whatever. I don't hold myself to the standard that I think they had an impact, but I think that like they did as much as they could while they had the passion. And I don't think that they ever feel like hey, this thing is like, Genesis had like 900 less people than the year before, or whatever it was. I don't think that they feel a pressure to like hold it up and make sure it doesn't die. I think that we all feel Melee will live for a very long time. I don't know if I can say forever, but a very long time. It doesn't need to grow. If Genesis has 600 people next year, as long as they can figure out a way to break even, no one cares. Like, that's okay. Yeah. Melee can go back to where it was in 2014. And it's still special and it's still good. And I think that if anything, people get this really bad idea of where Melee's at because they only engage with it online. Whenever someone says to me anything like, Melee players, oh, you guys, like, you all smell bad, or like, oh, you guys are all pedos, or oh, you guys are all... I'm like, when was the last tournament you went to? And they're always like, I've never been to one, or I don't go to tournaments, or I've never whatever. And I'm just like, that's why you think that. Like, your whole opinion on Melee is formed off of Twitter. Yeah. And the people who talk about Melee on Twitter also don't go to tournaments. These are not Melee players. These are casual onlookers of a community who have some sort of internal agenda or shitty life, and they externalize those feelings through this game for some reason. Yeah. And so when those are the people who are like the loudest online about this game, and I think Melee's in a weird place personally because of like, I personally don't have a lot of, I don't know if I used to believe that there's no stories in Melee that are interesting right now. I think what's actually happening is no one's telling those stories in a way that's captivating. And there are some stories. I do think the story of Melee has gotten less and less interesting, but I think that there are stories still, but they're just not being told by anyone in a way that is like really, really gripping. I think that is something that could help Melee, but I also think Melee has like I think it reached its ceiling and now it's like in the fallout. So it could never only get back to that ceiling again or stay or like slowly be dwindling until it has a spike again for whatever reason, or maybe there's a remaster, or maybe there's a, maybe Nintendo decides to make a Melee remaster and that's good for the game somehow. I don't think it will be. I think it'll run like shit and no one will play it.
There's no way.
But they've been making a lot of like emulated old GameCube games for Switch. Okay. They've started releasing like old games again. I think they did like F-Zero or like whatever. So that's potentially going to happen. But
Melee on the Switch.
Yeah, like you can play it on the Switch, and it's like
port.
It's like a port, and it's like the original game, but with new textures and like whatever. That's possible. Yeah. But Nintendo just hates our guts, so who knows? So I don't think these guys have a mounting pressure on their shoulders at all, especially not Ludwig, who doesn't think about shit that way at all. Like Ludwig supported Melee because he loves Melee, and when he's thinking about what do I want to stream today, he's also asking the question like, what do I want to watch today? And it's like as a stream, and he's like, yeah, I want to like show Melee. I think it's cool. And I think that he did plenty. I think everyone who's here did plenty and has no necessity to do more. And we still, we get reached out, the Yard specifically gets reached out to a lot. Like, yo, we're a tournament in England and we would love if you guys could sponsor us and give us money because we're like not breaking even. And we've sponsored like a ton of events. We've like just said, yeah, just put a Yard logo on the rotation. Like, you don't have to do anything really. You don't even really have to do that. Like, we're not going to check. Right. But we've like given money to plenty of events. We've given money to like players to get sponsored to go to events when they couldn't afford it. We do our thing. I had an event that I went to called Fate, which is in England. And I learned that if you've never been to an international Melee event, you gotta go. I think that you haven't engaged with Melee fully until you left the country. And the events are like, they're more like soccer games. Like the crowd has specific chants for every one of their best players. And like,
Really?
yeah, you've got like, you know, when fucking Frenzy goes on stage, they have a Frenzy specific chant that's like based on a football chant.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Rooney or something,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
whatever. And it's like this very welcoming, like when I go to Genesis, I'm yard guy. When I go to Fate, I'm kind of yard guy, but I'm mostly just a guy. And like
Right.
people know who I am, but they're like way more like just I'm integrated in there and everyone's hanging out and there's no like weird line for photos and there's no what it's just like an event.
Yeah.
And everyone's like super fucking cool. And I think Australia is really similar. And I went to that event and I came out of that event with this epiphany that I was like, I think the most important thing that I can do for Melee at this point, it's not starting some fucking yard regional. I've had all these ideas. Like, what if the yard started a local series where we gave $2,000 to every metropolitan city TO and just said, have a local every week and call it the yard and have like a circuit of like locals. Like I've had all these ideas that we could do that would like help the local scene or like, you know, these locals could amount to like Genesis and the best players could all get flown to Genesis and we'll pay for it because it's like a drop in the bucket for us or whatever. But I think like the real thing that I can do for Melee is just continuously go to events myself and always be someone saying, I love this game and I go to events and I enter and I try and play and I meet people there. And like, that's my new initiative. And like, that's what I try to bring to the game is like, I just need to keep going.
Yeah.
And even when I'm like, oh, I don't know, Genesis, like, do I want to go this year? I'm just like, just go.
Yeah.
Because like you'll have fun, you'll see people you haven't seen in a while, and it's good to go. It's good to support the scene physically and not just say, yo, I could tweet, everyone go to Genesis.